Y'all, it's Carde Rob.
I'm Adriana.
And we're back here again with another installment to relationship dynamics. I don't know. This might come out when I'm in Japan.
Okay, flex.
Or somewhere else. So, for this one we film next week, I'm just going to say thanks for watching. And, all I will keep saying is, this is, program podcast about, you got to have good conversations to feed you for you in the future, because, you already do enough junk scrolling on the app. So, we're going to have, a few good reasons why you should stop.
We can't relate to that. We cannot relate to no junk
scrolling. We like to have some fun.
Substance here.
Substance and fun. So I think we'll just get straight into it. But before we get straight into it, like, comment, subscribe. That helped us out. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. We've met every other marker this year. And if we get 700 more, or actually, we're at 350. With about 600 more subscribers, we can get monetized, and I can help my own pockets, and I get to pay my friends. Exactly. We got stuff to pay. So I think we should get straight into it, and that is...
Yes. We are talking about some messy things today.
Messy things?
A little messy.
A little messy.
A little messy.
Okay.
We love positivity here, but we understand the world is not made out of rainbows.
Tell us, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about unhealthy relationship dynamics. So I love our conversations about, where we talk about what feeds us, what we need as men and women. I enjoy those conversations, but also I have experienced things that are different from that. Maybe more than not.
Okay.
So I, talking about the lying, the cheating, the misleading, the wasting of my time. Okay, anyways. Of our time, because we waste each other's time, not being honest. And it's not only men, women do their thing too.
Yeah.
They do. Y'all do. Y'all do. So, I would just like to touch on the topics that I've actually experienced more of.
Yeah. Ooh, where are we starting?
We are starting with patterns, unhealthy patterns. And let's start with my unhealthy pattern as a way to get into this. I, Adriana, am a victim of repeating the same pattern of dating. I see the best in people. I see, a coal, and when I see a coal, I see a diamond. And unfortunately, sometimes it's just a piece of coal.
Okay.
That's a lesson I repeatedly learned.
Yeah.
We're done. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe one more for the plot. But no, I have a habit, and I know a lot of my friends have, both men and women have a habit of, not receiving what they deserve and trying to make that work, and receiving the highs and lows of someone's, inconsistency. We're doing really well, then we're doing really bad. And then once we start doing well again, we become addicted to that high. So when it's low, we're looking for that high again. And then usually when that relationship ends catastrophically, like sometimes mine do, we tend to move on towards a person who provides that same high and low and consistency. Or consistency of a high and low, instead of just riding at least at just an even keel, which I feel like would be more... which would be more beneficial than receiving the highs of, making up, and then the low of lying, cheating, and miscommunication, dishonest, like all the things that we all deal with in this adult life, unfortunately. But, it's a part of growing.
Yeah.
But something that I feel like should be touched on. Why do we keep going for the same toxic individual than, someone who has intention, who is clear, who doesn't confuse you, or someone you don't have to question? Why are we afraid of that?
So I think, number one, I appreciate you being vulnerable and saying that, because, one of the things I'm learning as, being, and I'm working on this, a public figure, doing a podcast, is like, we do have some influence. We do, influence different people. So, you have to be careful how you say things. But one of the things I've always say is like, you have to be able to learn and grow, because you could say something 2 years ago and then have a totally different opinion. And I think we always have to have that flexibility. So I appreciate you being vulnerable with saying that, because, speaking and saying your heart is, and just your real life. So it also kind of makes me think too as well, where it's kind of like that kind of gets into like, you got to be mindful of what you say.
Yeah.
Because the energy you even put into the mic, and when we talk about personal lives.
Yeah.
So I think to really like start us to get us going, before we like pick up with your personal piece, is talking about what the origins of like toxic traits, like what's a toxic trait. Because I feel like sometimes when people talk about that, right, where you're seeing the good in people, and seeing the coal but seeing the diamond, I think sometimes people may confuse that could also be a toxic trait, because that could be a maladaptive strategy.
100%.
So I'll add mine very, very soon. But I think just to break down to the people who are listening, where like when we look at something or behavior that's not working for you, it's a tool that doesn't allow you to reflect. It's a tool that harms you, where you put yourself where you put yourself at your own expense. And I'll edit that out, I'll butcher that, but you self-sacrifice to yourself to the point where you're detrimental. There we go. You're detrimental to yourself. And I think that's when it becomes a harmful behavior.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there are times where you have to see the best or the diamond while your partner's acting like a coal. Not all the time, but some of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So I appreciate you saying that. And I guess I kind of want to add mine. And one of the things that I've been told about, like another therapist, when I would see from my own therapy, is like sometimes I do a lot of the emotional labor in my own relationship, and I'm not allowing other people to do that. And who wouldn't want a partner who's emotionally intelligent and gets it? But it's kind of like, if I'm not allowing someone else to feel their emotions and in the room, and me thinking that I can do the work for two people, that can become destructive. So I say that even, or when you talk about like you can drink too much water, So I'm just curious, let's dissect a little bit more of you saying, where like, how has looking at the coals of life, how has that become a maladaptive or hurtful behavior for you?
I believe it's become a hurtful behavior because I don't know how to distinguish. Let's see. To break it down a little bit more, I think there are a couple of things. I feel like I see a red flag or something that like is a repeated pattern on their end that I've stated to them that I don't appreciate or like, or that is seemingly disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I'm disloyal if I'm like, okay, bye. Like, I don't like your behavior, so let me go this way. So it kind of shows like I don't have the patience or the loyalty to see it through.
Ooh.
Okay. Don't know. I'm trying to figure out where that stems from, because it's like I'm no longer disloyal. I'm no longer loyal to myself at that point, and I'm not following my own discernment, because obviously I don't like this.
Yeah.
And you're showing me that you don't care that I don't like it. So I would say with that, and I also have a habit of, I want to say, dating people who don't love themselves.
Ooh.
Which is I'm learning about that like recently.
Yeah.
Like this is a new lesson for me, and I'm noticing, I'm trying to make up and like pour value into someone who doesn't value themselves, but the way they disvalue themselves is by projecting how they treat themselves because of that onto me.
Okay.
And I get the bad treatment of them not feeling a type of way about themselves when they look in the mirror, when they think about themselves or their goals or where they're at. Like, they're down on themselves. They're down on me. Whew. So, hi.
No, I appreciate you sharing that.
You know, I don't care. You know, my business is your business unless it's too much of it. But other than that, I don't mind. If it can help someone and it can resonate with someone, I want to be able to say the things that suck.
No, say the things that suck. I love that. Yeah. I think I've mapping this and making it loop all together, right? Mm-hmm. With you saying that, where does the healing aspect or understanding that this is, you know, our hurtful behavior? I hear the partner aspect and the other person.
But for me.
But for you, yes.
Because then I start to match their energy, and if I don't feel like they find me worth it to change their behaviors that are obviously hurtful to me, then it makes me question my own value. Why am I not worth them changing? Why am I not worth the honesty, the truth?
Oh yeah.
The, you know, the going above and beyond.
So, and that's where, to me, where it gets into like the human aspect, where I think we're spoiled. And when I say we're spoiled, is we've grown up in a society in a world where you flip on, you know, Disney Channel, you go to, you know, BET, you go to VH1, and you look at these movies, and we see these people go through troubling relationship aspects, right? And then we leave on the movie on the good point, and it robs us to think that relationships are easy. Relationships aren't easy. Relationships are work. And I feel like we have that subliminal lie. So when things aren't going well, right, it's like, well, this is not working, so that means I'm not good enough, or this is not working, I need to throw away that person. Now I want to say like there are a lot of differences, and because I kind of want to balance and be careful of not using too much of you, but like, you know, talking about the world where it's like, that can be worked on, that person can do that, but it's like the work of, that's their issue, this is my issue, because I guess when you're saying that, it makes me think like, you want to show up and be loyal to your partner, right? But the work in the relationship is, when can you see that that's them and this is me? Yeah. So my question is, we're talking about this now, and this like, so like retrospect now. Yeah. When did you understand that that's them, but this is me?
Usually the endings of my relationships, situationships, whatever, kind of end in a big way, unfortunately. Like in a big negative way, where it's like something that has to, like, I almost think God's like, girl, I've been showing you, I've been telling you, let's go ahead and knock this out. You know, like, we got to go ahead and like make your brain go, this is done, you know? Because it's like, obviously, girl, this ain't piano on my head type situation. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he'll like, God was like, I rained on your date that other night, you know? I try to rain, like, I did these little things. Now here is, you know, an HVAC falling on your dome while you walk down the street, because clearly you're not getting it, sweetheart.
I hope I don't want to learn them lessons from God.
You know, he's got me. God got me. He don't play about me.
Yeah.
But I need to pay more attention to the discernment that he gives me and listen to my internal when I feel it at the time, versus like talk myself into staying, you know? So I think that's like my biggest lesson, because I know I value myself. And I think my lesson that I'm learning is, at the moment I question it, I need to remove that person.
So how? I'm gonna push you. How do you know that you should value yourself?
How do I know?
Yeah.
Because I've seen the product of what I look like and how I feel when I don't.
Okay.
You know, I don't show up for myself, or as much for others.
Yeah.
If I'm not, you know, I'm drinking more, eating out late, not prioritizing my sleep or my health care.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not managing my life the way that fits into the life that I want. Because I take accountability for it too. I'm distracted by like trying to prove to someone like, hey, I'm worth it. Like, look at me. Like, I can do all these things for you. And then it's like, I'm neglecting my things. And whereas like, if I'm telling someone like, hey, let's work out together, let's do these things, or how do you want to live your life, or what do you want to do with your life, and they're not contributing, at least in that way, I think that's something that I'm starting to notice more. Also, like, hey, your stories don't line up, or I saw this and you repeatedly are lying about it. And I think that's a way of me being like, you know what? I love that for you, but not for me. And
Yeah.
you can find someone or nothing that will do better with that, but I should not be a part of it.
No.
So I think it's more so when I'm not taking care of myself. That's how I notice that I need to be out of that. I'm no longer valuing myself.
No, that's big. I want to take that a little further too, where you're not taking care of yourself. I think that's a big aspect too as well. I think for me, just bringing up just even mine, where it's like not being reflective or not resting, because if y'all were paying attention, I will say one of the things that I struggle with is because it's so natural, because it's so easy, kind of like answering even more of the question that started, where it's kind of like in relationships, sometimes you just naturally go into spots where you feel like you fit in, where it's kind of like that's your greatest skill, like seeing the best out of someone is your greatest skill. Me being able to come from someone with my words, with my energy, my empathy, my sympathy, that's where I just naturally fit into, where I can kind of get myself into trouble, where it's kind of like, am I taking care of myself to be like, all right, maybe this person's not asking for that, but also like, can they do that for me? Like, why am I forcing myself to like be into this role where I have to take care of everything? Because and then like, in a partnership, your partner should want to take care of you. So I feel you on that, where I think for me to kind of like put this into a nice pristine bow is like, any behavior can turn toxic, can turn hurtful to yourself and a potential partner, is like when you don't have that awareness, acknowledgement, and I'll even just say awareness, acknowledgement, and I'm gasping for words. I would say being accountable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say when I say accountable, is being accountable to like, am I taking care of myself? Am I listening to that person? Because when we talk about balance in relationship, people focus on 50-50. The balance is, in this moment, am I taking care of that person? Am I giving the person that need? And am I also pushing through discomfort? So
yeah, for sure. Because I think like in my past relationships where like we're fighting back and forth, cheating is happening, lying is happening, and like you get so used to like dealing with it that when it happens again within the same relationship or with someone else, is like, oh, I already dealt with it, so I can kind of like have more patience for it. Versus like, you already dealt with this, so why are you doing it again? So I think that's like where my unhealthy pattern also is. Like the vice versa for like a man who keeps getting in relationships that he's not faithful in, that's an unhealthy pattern.
It is.
But like I'm also will accept too much of it before I'm like, all right, out.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah. Because it's like, okay, we bicker, fight, move on, but I'm not. But then no one ever really moves on. You know what I mean? Especially if they're hurt. It's kind of just like, well, let's just stop fighting because this is going nowhere.
Yeah.
And then like breakups are hard. People don't want to separate when they know they should.
That's a hell of a segue. Should we talk about
breakups are hard.
I got this ice box where my heart is busting and fighting and went back at it again.
No, I'm speaking on icebox where my heart used to be. I have a heart. I still have one. I have not tried to let men make me harder. Like the reason that my personality has nothing to do with how men treated me. It's just because of how my parents raised me. Like they were very bullheaded, both of them. Bullheaded woman and a bullheaded daddy. So they raised this one. So if it seems like I love men, I love women. If it seems like I'm against y'all, I'm really for y'all, but y'all just be pissing me off. So
I say for me, I grew up, in a household where, a lot of wolves, where it's kind of like you just got to run with the pack, And
unfortunately, my mom was the biggest wolf I know. Sorry, Dad. But she was. She was not snapping his ass up.
So before we go to our first commercial break, I think the most important thing we talk about right now is breakups.
Yeah.
Why do breakups happen?
Because you're incompatible. In the long run.
I say that's one of the reasons, but also people break up because people are lazy.
True, because they don't want to do the work. Because they don't realize relationships are work. Y'all think it's all that bumping and grinding and, you know, going out to dinner and just the simple stuff.
But I don't see nothing wrong with that.
But, you know, add on the emotional, like, you got to add the deeper levels of things.
But I was quoted a song. I don't see nothing wrong.
Oh, I'm not quoting that song.
but continue. On some serious.
Yeah, no, but for sure. Breakups, like, people, I don't know where we got grown accustomed to, like, where you said relationships are work. People do not like the work. They do not, people don't like holding themselves accountable. They don't like looking at themselves internally, for sure, when they're presented with an issue from their partner, or they like to deflect. People don't go to therapy. People don't pray. You know, what else could I say? It's a lot that goes into a breakup. But a lot of it, I think, is just I think, like what I said about loving yourself, I think a lot of it has to do with, like, if you have love for yourself and you genuinely have love for someone else, it could work, you know. And breakups usually happen because you're projecting how you feel about yourself onto somebody else that doesn't deserve it. So if you're lazy with your own self, you'll definitely be lazy with someone else.
I would say I appreciate that. To even answer my own question, I feel like breakups happen a lot. Because don't get me wrong, I do believe it's incompatibility, and then people do grow out of love. But I feel a lot of relationships don't fully get to see their potential because both people don't enter the relationship trying to get the full potential out of the relationship. And it's either one person dragging that person to try to reach that full potential, or there's so many different life circumstances that are pulling you from really actualizing what the relationship's true potential actually was. So I don't know if that makes sense.
That was great.
Yeah,
I love that.
Okay, cause I was like, because I even think about some of the situationships I've had in the past where, you know, I wasn't at that level, and I wasn't ready, and, you know, to save face due to culture, I was I think for me, I was like, yeah, this works for me. Yeah, we should do this because, you know, I think it was ingrained in me where I was taught, like, you know, I'll figure it out along the way. But I think when you truly get into relationships, whether they go to marriage or not, you have to be the most intentional that you are in the moment. And I think that we're never that because we're afraid of some type of cultural, like, if this doesn't happen, then I'll never find this person. It's some like this extreme ism of this will never happen again if I don't really have this opportunity. So
yeah. No, and I feel like fear is a good word to put into that. Why breakups happen. There's a lot of fear. Yeah. And I guess a cliche, the unknown of what could happen. So the minute it becomes unfamiliar, you're like, bye. You know? So it's like, well, damn. All right, then.
So I think to help steer the ship a little bit when it comes to, like, breakups, like, why do you think we struggle in our culture with the breakup culture?
I think one would be, don't hate me. We kind of lost the male and female dynamic, that who's the man and who's the woman. And I say that being very much an independent woman, but this is because I have to be. I don't want to be. I have to be.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus, every woman should know how to be independent. Okay. All right. I go to Cheesecake Factory. I pick up the bill. But, you know, but it's also, I think those dynamics have kind of like switched a little bit, you know, and it's like, I am a woman, like we've talked about, I believe, ask a man on dates, do the flower thing, whatever, but I shouldn't be the only person doing that. And men, you know, I'm a bartender, so I've seen a man walk up to him and be like, "You gonna buy me a drink?" And I've been like, "She ain't gonna buy you shit, brother, because what the hell are you doing coming up on a woman like that?" So it's just, and like, you know, the men I understand men wanting to get taken care of, but and the willingness a woman could have taken care of a man, but like the expectancy, and I get it on both sides. It could be like a little, it's just.
So dive more into the gender aspect.
Gender aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me it's a respect thing. If I I think my breakups also happen because I stopped respecting the person I'm with, and it won't be obvious, but you'll see it, you know, or it kind of will be. I don't know. It's the way I start talking to you. It's small little changes in how I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
I ain't ever gonna call you really out your name because I don't like. I know that's disrespectful, and I know I don't respect you if I do that. But you know, you might have to make your own plate tonight, you know, or something like that, or I might, you know, go do something by myself, like, you know, just stop asking like, hey, what are we doing tonight? My life becomes a little bit more independent after that. Once the respect is not there, because if I don't respect you, then I can't.
No, okay, that's okay. So it's interesting you said the gender aspect of it, because I will say I think the breakup culture and aspect is gender neutral. I'm being honest with you. I've heard and seen it all. I just think it's the expectations of, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of this thing. It's called like rejection sensitivity.
It sounds like I could put it together.
So rejection
I've dealt with.
So rejection sensitivity is like, you know, obviously no one wants to be rejected, but rejection sensitivity is like you're constantly thinking about, like, you know, I'm not wanted, this is not gonna work. Yes. So it's almost kind of like a level of like catastrophizing. So it's kind of like you're ultra sensitive to, you know, the worst case scenario, because you're always expecting the worst case scenario, but you're like very sensitive to it, and that's, you know, something in ADHD. But I bring up with dating where it's kind of like we have all these expectations, right? Mm-hmm. And with these expectations where, you know, the man's supposed to do this, woman's supposed to do this, and then when those worlds crumble, like you're expecting this to go a certain way, and it's like, if I'm being like super duper honest, it's like, how can I still show up for myself, even when someone says no, even when they see or don't see that value in me? And the only reason why I say that is we have this get back culture, or I was or I was right. And in the breakup aspect, it's like a serious like rejection where I'm not going to leave on the best of terms because I felt I was wronged. Yeah. Or this thought I always had, I believe you were talking to this person. Did you ever ask that person? Yeah. Or you never believed in me. That type of shit. And I think that is like the Ragnarok of what makes relationships worse. Now, we even haven't talked about cheating because, you know, that's a big thing. But how someone deals with a breakup, to me, shows me your true character.
Yeah. No, for sure. Definitely. I have good character. I mean, it may not be good character. I'm the person that's like, you know, you kind of just, I'm on good terms with everyone I've broken up with because they just no longer exist to me. So, and I think that's just what's best for me. Because I would love to be, I want to be in that space of cordial. Yeah. And things like that. But it just never ends up that way. And it could be me, you know, I might be the problem. And no, I don't think so. And it's not, and it's like a lot of self-reflection for it. Cause I'm in a place where I truly try to lead with honesty and like, so I'm solution driven. Yeah. How can things be different than this? Yeah. And you know, basically there's certain things that I can't forgive. and shouldn't be forgiven by any woman. So unfortunately, people just should not exist when you cross that boundary.
Fair. When we talk about, even though we're still talking about breakups, where it's like, what do you think that does, when we talk about like forgiveness, I feel like this is also could be like a longer pod.
For sure.
Where I feel like there's levels of forgiveness where like someone who's perpetrated you, obviously hearing them being apologetic would be healing, but also I think for me, and maybe I'm playing 4D chess and y'all can get on me in the comments, where I feel like there has to be like a air inside yourself where you forgive yourself.
Yeah.
And when I say forgive yourself, even if someone didn't cheat and the other person did cheat on you, right? I feel like a layer of forgiving yourself is being like, man, I put myself in a situation where I even had to get like this frustrated to deal with that, and maybe I acted out of character, but also at the same time, you know, I had nothing to do about this. Maybe I could have done this relationship a little differently. Maybe if I acted in a certain way, my partner would have been a little bit more comfortable talking to me about difficult things, because you know it's still on them. Because when you forgive yourself, that is like a weight that's off your shoulders, where like you can be in the room with your ops, because sometimes you have to, because I think people get like, they get off with knowing that they still have some
reaction.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure.
Exactly.
People love to press my buttons, I swear, and there's no buttons to press. I'm an elevator with no buttons. You ain't going nowhere with me. Pretty much.
Exactly. So I think for me, being able to like hold space for them, and for them to think it's sweet, being like, oh, it's great to see you too. We should catch lunch. No,
I don't even get that far. Hey man,
do you think
all my exes are John Cena? Actually, that's not true. I'll like chop it up, say hi, give a hug to a few, but like most recent, but that's just like, it's just like a safer place to be in, I think. But I have so much forgiveness and so much love for that person. Like, I've let it go, but I also know, like, in letting it go, what I needed to do to move forward. And that's just, you had a season in my life, and at a certain point, you didn't. So let's go back to the didn't.
Which brings us to the last part of this before we go to our commercial break, is I definitely think in breakups, it's you gotta know how to break up. And when I say how to break up is, you know, people do like to bend in the corner a lot, and then they like to dive into new relationships, new people, and not really reflect about what went wrong, because you really take, I've heard a woman say this before, soul ties, and like the more like sexual context or things like that, but like I take this as more of like baggage. Whatever you don't resolve with your last relationship, you will take that into your next one, because in a breakup, I'm not above people, you know, getting back in the gym, whatever, or, you know, having more mental fortitude, doing things for yourself. But like, once you get through the breakup and you get back into your singledom, right? You're so used to of dealing and healing and being that singledom, those wounds that happen in that relationship will dissipate, and they will resurface back up when you're in that relationship, because our breakups and our singleness teach us how to heal and grow. But what really teaches us how to heal and grow is like when we get back into a new relationship, because those old wounds will resurface, meaning you can do all that work by yourself. That's preparing for you for when you're with another person in the room to work through that with them. You know? That makes sense?
No, it does make sense. And a lot of it is like you're going through that by yourself when you're in the new relationship and you don't have these conversations. Because I think people don't want to come off like they have baggage. They want to like seem free and resolved of those things. And afraid, I think, is mostly fear of what the other person might feel like, oh, you still hung up on your ex. And it's like, no, I've felt that I was mistreated, or I was treated in a way that I did not deserve in my last relationship. And those left me with wounds that, you know, that could potentially affect what this new person and has going, like you and I have going on. So I'd rather just like have that conversation. It's hard, obviously, like to bring up those things, but it's just like, hey, like these certain things that you do, not saying that you're doing anything wrong, but it reminds me of this.
Ooh, I like that.
So,
and it's about being able to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And at that junction, we're going to pause and we're actually going to go to a quick commercial break, and we're going to pick up right back right there. We'll be right back. Back.
Hello, we're back.
Adriana, you were saying some fire shit right there. Could you say that one more time?
What'd I say? I'm kidding. I said
I was about to say.
We are afraid, fearful, and hesitant to have conversations with new partners about their things that they happen to do that trigger us from our last relationship. Remind us. I hate the word trigger because it's like that just makes me think of, but it is a trigger. PTSD is in many different forms and levels, and
all right. I'm about to throw a wrench at you.
Oh no! If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Great movie. We don't need a dodgeball 2 though. Let's keep it how it was. I don't think we can make jokes like that anymore.
I'm sorry. Yikes.
No. I'm saying
It's
like
funny.
no, in dodgeball. I don't think we can make that type of film in this day and age
No,
anymore.
you can't.
No.
It's unfortunate. I'm glad I grew up when I did. Sorry for y'all. Y'all get poop jokes. Enjoy that. Right? Also, don't make you got served again.
Yeah.
I'm not about to sell drugs to dance.
Shit, I actually just forgot what you said to me.
Oh damn, you forgot. Hesitant and fearful to let your new partner know what they do that triggers you.
Boom. See,
from your last
thank you. So, I would say to me, the word trigger has become more of like a pop psychology word. Yeah. And when I say people talking about being triggered, I feel like now there's like an emotional high ground.
Yeah.
Where like I'm triggered or I'm setting a boundary where like I feel like we've lost the essence of what that is supposed to be, where our emotions are pretty much are signs. They are flags to let us know that we don't like this or we do like this. And I think when we're in that uncomfortable space and we're trying to do the work, how you set a boundary and how your triggers come out can manipulate the work being done.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that makes sense.
So it's kind of like, for me, if I get triggered by my own partner, I think a part of me has to work on how to manage my own trigger and then also explain it out. And I'll even say this. I've said this a lot on the podcast, but I found a name for it that I've enjoyed, where like every relationship you get into, I say it's $1 million relationship. And I always say, because I'm asking you this, Adrian, wouldn't you want 30% of $1 million?
What I want, 30%?
Yeah. If you like, would 30% of $1 million be enough for you?
Yeah, I can flip that.
You see how you can flip that. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
You gonna feel that.
Yeah.
So I always say that in a relationship, you have to do your 30%. 30% is a lot. And if you're that adjacent partner and your partner has triggers, boundaries, things like that, you have to show up and support them and be that 30% of $1 million. Yeah. Meaning they're going to feel that it's effective, but you're not doing the 70. The 70 is the partner being like, hey, you just triggered me. I'm trying to work through that. I really can't hear you like that because I'm triggered, because it lets the person know that, yeah, maybe something that you did I don't like, but I'm also being triggered in two different directions, in the present and the past. So from a healed individual, they'll be able to decipher like, all right, it's not my fault. It's not fully my fault. It's like, all right, this person's trying to explain that they're trying to work through a feeling or emotion. And it's not just like, oh, you just didn't do this thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we have those surface level understandings and surface levels like conversations, then it turns into the he said, she said, and then it turns into the non-respect aspect that you're talking about. Because I think people sometimes, if they're working on themselves, they don't get upset for no reason.
Yeah.
There's something behind it.
Yeah.
But does that make sense in the $1 million relationship?
Yeah, no, for sure. It makes sense. I think it's just like, I know in my next relationship, which won't be for like 5 years, I would need reassurance. Basically, I don't want to like police you, but I just know that your girl's been through some pain, and I just need like a little bit of like reassurance, that I'm in a safe place and that I'm not pouring my cup all onto the ground.
No,
if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. And I think one of the things I'm learning as, being a man and navigating and transitioning to like what masculinity looks like for me, where it's kind of like I can resonate with a lot of men who's like, all right, I'm fixing her problems, I'm telling her to do this, I'm trying to navigate through this. And I think sometimes I'll say good men. I say a lot of good men are patient. I just think we have to keep working on and expanding our patience, because I think being able to be our women's peace when they're dysregulated or triggered, because I understand like the world can be beating you down and you just like, I just want peace. And I think sometimes creating and getting to that peace is meeting her anxiety or meeting her wanting reassurance with, it can't be every time, but like this time, this is a safe relationship. You don't have to get that far to get my attention. And I think because of the stress of the day, the stress of like, we all get out of our own characters to like really have that real conversation.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
yeah, it's it's definitely like at this big age for sure where things matter more, I want to say. Less of like a dating show, it's more like permanent. I think navigating those relationships after breakups like that include disloyalty, dishonesty, betrayal are important, because I think even when men deal with it, it's just hurtful, and it's hard to move on. It's hard to move on without looking at everyone like they're going to hurt you. And then I think also a trigger could be feeling loved, because you're like, well, what are they doing behind my back? So which
gets
us into cheating.
Hey, look at you! You did it! You did it! We saved this for the last part.
Cheating, lying. Oh my god, my favorite subject.
Because with I don't put no chapters. That means you gotta watch to figure out what we talking about. Cheating. Should I talk about? Should you talk about cheating?
Cheating. Don't do it, but you're going to, because you don't love yourself. I'm kidding.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know who she's talking about.
You know who I'm talking to.
I'm just living life.
I'm just kidding, guys. No, I think cheating is a product of not having your own self-worth, because you want to feel validated and you don't mind receiving validation from multiple sources.
I don't know. I just want to state, I don't know any of these subliminals that are going on here, but I will just say this. Cheating. I work with as you guys all know, I'm a therapist, and cheating is a big trauma, is a big trigger, and it's a big rupture of trust. And I always say, when it comes to like cheating, I always looked at it like this: if that person's willing to do that to a person that they care about, what are they willing to do for you? I would say for me, black men don't cheat. So
what?
We don't. I've never I've never cheated.
Okay.
I have never cheated. And I've been around stuff like that, and it's like we're seeing both sides, and I mean both sides as a person who's seen a person they care about being cheated on, and then witnessing the reverse of it, and being like and then also being a therapist and being like, we got to work through this, and it is a big rupture. And I think as people, we don't understand the hurt that we cause. Yeah. So one thing I can add to the pot is I've been cheated on before, and I've always had the ego of like, it would never be me.
Damn. Never. Can't relate. Well, I have cheated once, and it was a cheat back, and it sucked. Not the experience, but just
hey,
yo. But it was just the fact that like it was not meaningful. And typically, if I'm in a position to do anything like that, I want it to have meaning, and the meaning was like evil, and it was like, okay, I'm not gonna break up with this person, but let me get back at them. And then it was like, no, because now I'm affecting someone else's energy and my own, and being displaced out of my own character.
Yeah.
So haven't done that again, and so now I'm just like, if I feel like I need to go out of my relationship, then I need to get out of my relationship.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Please break up with me before you do that.
But no, I appreciate you saying the cheat back. The cheat back is like it's like the power of like, I can now make things even, and it's so interesting that you said that it didn't even make you feel good. Well,
no, it was
not
draining.
In that way.
It was I'm like thinking about it. It was like, I don't want to hurt someone because I'm hurt. I don't, I like caught a whole body based off of being mistreated. Damn. Like, that's wild, and then it wasn't even worth me even bringing it up to the person I cheated back on, because it was just like, well, shit, they don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they're probably like, it's always funny when they'll be like, if I did this to what a man did to me, if I did to him, they would. They do. Honestly. But I'm not trying to do all that. I ain't really, like, I feel like hurting me should hurt you enough. Why do I gotta?
I know.
But it don't. I'm kidding. I don't say that it doesn't. I think they just don't know how to regulate their emotions or deal with it. So.
Let's break this down, because if we're talking about cheating today, just like really get into it, I think when it comes to just cheating in itself, right, it's the aspect of you don't feel comfortable enough to talk to me, or you felt that you've talked to me enough where you're lost, or you're enamored by the opportunity, by finally getting your needs met. Because cheating is pretty much just admittance of you don't feel like you're getting your needs met. So
is that always the case?
I think of all types of cheating.
Yeah.
I just think it's you're not getting your needs met. Emotionally cheating for fun, cheating for sport.
Ego
There's like
cheating.
Exactly, like you're trying
there's a lot of different kinds.
Exactly, you're trying to fill a void.
Yeah.
And that void is like, oh, I like my partner, or I don't like my partner. I don't like the situation. I don't want the opposite of what it looks like. So I'm not getting this need met. So I'm gonna feed my ego, and I'm gonna fill this void. So I continue the status quo, but I won't actually put in the energy to change the status quo.
Yeah.
No,
that's true. And I just never understood cheating for me. Just because it's like, if you're gonna cheat and then sing on bended knee to me,
that happened,
or no different, like whatever, or no, not personally, but just like you're just gonna be like, please don't leave me, please don't take me back, I know I did, like, I don't get it.
I'll put on some Neo.
Do he got like 4 Jones right now.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I look at Neo very differently. Hey, shout out to Neo. He brought me into R&B. It's damn. But anyway,
So I think that's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
The cheating and then wanting the person to stay after you hurt them. I think that's why I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because if obviously being me, that's me telling you don't do this.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it. It hurts my feelings. You know, I'm not going to poison your food or anything, but it's going to make me real mad, real sad. I say mad, but it's always like when I say mad or when I speak angrily, I'm very much coming from a place of vulnerability. I don't want to show it. I'm going to just throw it out there. So if I seem like I'm toxic, it's because I'm just a sad girl. Don't hold it against me if I see you in public. But I'm still like, you know, learning how to be more vulnerable than not. More like leading with I'm sad versus I'm angry, because then people don't I feel like it's more receptive to be sad.
Oh yeah, because you G-checked me when you came in today. He was like, you sure about that? I was like, stop what you're doing. But
please. But no, I think where are we at? What are we talking about?
Vulnerability.
I think I would rather a man be vulnerable and say, hey, I feel this void and I don't think I'm receiving something from you, or even just like I'm not into monogamy, or you know, just having types of conversations that keep me from crying into my pillow.
Okay, it's okay. I'm not even gonna use you. We can
hypothetically. I've been used before. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry, like it's a safe place. That's
exactly. So maybe we can do a guy and lady version of this, where it's like I've heard guys being like, yeah, I'm not that attracted to my partner anymore. I'm not attracted to my wife anymore. And like, all right, you having spaghetti dinner, you eating spaghetti dinner, you're like, yeah, man, you're not, that's a tough conversation. It's like there will be no Lady in the Tramp scene going on.
No, that's true.
So it's kind of like, all right, that's hard to have that conversation. And then you go to the office, there's someone who's, you know, giving you the attention, and then one thing leads to another, and then you're like, two of my bitches in the club. And
don't know about each other.
So it's kind of like, I think people can get like caught up, and like that goes back into doing the work, because I think what a lot of people think by even saying something like that, that the relationship is over.
I mean, sometimes it could be. You never know what the other person might say, and I think that's what's important, what we're missing from this.
No, true,
equation.
But that, to answer your question, I think that's what people are like, oh, I do like this person, and I like the old version of that person, and it's kind of like that type of thing. Asking that would be signals to like, or grounds to like, maybe potentially break up the relationship, or figure out that my need will actually not ever get met, or maybe find out that it's actually a me thing.
But isn't that so exciting that you get to release someone into what they may be better suited in, because you're growing unhappy before they are. You know what I mean? I think cheating is selfish.
1,000%.
You know, because it's like, yeah, that's a horrible conversation to have. Like, I'd be sick if my man was like, hey, just so you know, you ain't doing it for me no more.
Jesus Christ.
Not that should be your approach. I'm dumbing it down for comedic effects. But that's how, like, that's how it would be taken. You know, it's like, damn, I ain't cute anymore. Like, what am I doing? But, like, also it's like, I want my man sees that, like, okay, you know, we've been laid up a little bit. We ain't been really active too much. And like, I see like we're both usually it's both gaining weight in a relationship. Like, and I'm feeling like, you know, we could do better, or she could do better. Like, I would rather you approach me with that. Like, hey, like, I noticed that you don't wear these pants anymore. And
that's crazy.
It's a hard, but I'd rather have the hard conversation. You know what I mean? Okay. I'd rather have the difficult conversation, because even if it leads to a breakup, that's going forward with something. That's moving forward. And not like,
I respect it.
Like, that's not diminishing the relationship or the value that we have for each other. You know, it's like, I may be pissed off, and like, there may be some time that we don't talk because of this hard conversation we had, but at least, like, you know, months later, a year later, we could still be on good terms, and I could go about my business and you can go about yours without me thinking you're a horrible human being because you lied and cheated on me. You know, I hate those outcomes versus like, oh, you know what? He called me ugly one day in the kitchen and we ended up breaking up after that. But you know, I was.
All right. What would be you can kick me with one. I want to see what I can do.
With
a tough conversation.
A tough conversation. Ooh. Whew. Well, let me see. Sorry, you put me on the spot. Hey, hun, I just noticed that you're not really seem interested in me anymore. You know, you no longer ask me to go out to dinner. You no longer take me to places. We kind of just sit at home, and if we're not at home, it's you going out with the guys. And you know, I've noticed that. Also, I've noticed attention from men more because of that, I believe. Because that's a tough one, but it's true, you know?
They got me tripping. I mean, nigga, please don't see, we got nigga talk. Hold on a second, close up. Nigga, please tell me that I'm taking attention from other men. Woo, okay, you got to go one.
I'm not taking attention. I'm noticing attention from other men. Because me, I'm like, just know I'm so loyal. I'm fly swatting. What? I got a man. But if there's like a situation where I'm like, damn, I ain't dressed up or did nothing for a minute. And then if it creeps in that a man flirting with me and I have a man ain't come out my mouth, there's something going on.
Okay, that's a real one. That's a real one. That's a real one. That would be tough.
Mm-hmm. It's tough.
That would be tough because I be thinking about.
But I didn't do it. I didn't do nothing. You know,
the misogyny is growing inside of me. Hands me down. I literally, I promise you, I forget one of my friends I was sending this to. There was just like this meme, and it was like, you and your girl are like on like a break, and you said you can't talk to anyone else, and you find out that she, you know, went on one date with someone else. So you're like, now I gotta go talk to 13 other women. I said, Jesus Christ, this escalated quickly.
Honestly, that's the math. Maybe some people use.
So, as a healed man, I would say that's tough because a lot of men won't admit it, but you know, men are very territorial, and I think I was telling this to my friend, when you bring your girl into the room and no guy knows her, we're like, yeah.
Well, knows her in the biblical sense. Let's just say that. You know,
I'm not.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm talking about guys. That's a flex. We're like,
that's true.
That's a flex. Where it's kind of like, well, when she don't know dudes like that, and I'm talking about all kinds, not just sexual. Where it's kind of like, yes, this is my girl.
Yeah,
my girl.
Yeah,
my girl.
Talking about. Sorry.
No.
My girl.
Yeah, there we go. I think that's our own innocence that robs us of like guys do want that. Like, we are very overprotective, we are very territorial in that way, and I think sometimes we blur the lines between providing and keeping up the status quo rather than also doing the work of like making sure that she feels like that. Because sometimes when we say that we've taken care of all of the bills, or we've said that we've done all the emotional labor, we forget to be present. And I think that would be tough with any man to just sit there and be like, oh, I know you didn't say what I'm about to say, but I'm like mansplaining, man-ease what we hear, meaning like you talking like, what are you doing? What are you wearing to bring that attention? But also at the same time, you know, if we keep it a P and we keeping it player, if we keeping it P and keep it player, like, you know, you should expect your girl to get talked to at every different level, and like how you respond to it matters. But in that situation, I think as men, we need to do a better job of asking better emotional, intentional questions of what have I been doing lately where you don't feel like I'm being attentive. Because I know a lot of men do like, but I'm doing this over here. And not saying that doing that over there is not good or bad.
Right.
It's maybe not what you need to prioritize.
Yes.
And maybe what your person is saying is maybe you have to prioritize a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think we just have to work through the hurt of, oh, I might potentially lose this person, or this person is trying to deceive me, or this person was honest enough to tell me that this stuff is going on. So hopefully I answered that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Because no, I would be afraid to say that to my man. Because it's like because the first thing you go into is like, she fucking, she's she did something. My bad, bleep that out. She did something or something like that. Like, I'm saying? It's for sure, but it's like, no, I didn't. But
So, I think in my way, I think there are funny, playful, but also very serious ways to be like, hey, this is a boundary for me. I need reassurance. Like when we look at the Chris Brown concerts, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. If I see you on stage, and if you feel comfortable, if I was standing right there for let that happen, then you gonna then that's okay. But if you know that I'm an act of fool seeing that, then you probably know that's not okay. Meaning, if I'm not there, there is at least concert etiquette that I would appreciate because it's respecting of me and it's respecting of our relationship. Because who knows? You might get pulled up on stage with Chris Brown.
Yeah.
But I don't need him to, take you down. If he's trying to dance with you, dance to him on the side.
You gotta save room for Jesus. Jesus, Mary, Joseph.
It's also like the Usher thing, right? Yeah. Where I think, and you have to correct me.
The Palmer thing? Was it that thing or
that? I'm pushing it. I'm just pushing it. Yeah, that's really no. I'm talking about. I think her name is Winnie Harlow. She's dating a Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, Kyle Kuzma. Where Usher comes up and he goes, wait, that was pretty good. Yeah. And she's dancing with him, but she's like, this is my man. Where it's kind of your dude.
Yeah.
Where I think they've had the conversations where it's kind of Kyle Kuzma, in my opinion, he doesn't need to disrespect his woman, but also at the same time, his woman is respecting this is what I believe he may want. Yeah. But I feel that's a conversation that they have to have, and I feel maybe Kyle had to have that vulnerable moment where it's kind of you have to have those vulnerable moments with your partner if that does make you feel uncomfortable, because I think sometimes people can weaponize that to be I feel insecure.
Yeah.
And just because someone feels insecure or that would make them feel insecure, them being able to vocalize that's important. That's what's needed. What becomes and makes it into an insecurity is when you are going out of your way to not either negotiate what's the middle ground, or to be you can't tell me what to do, but I'm trying to tell you that bothers me in a relationship, and I would just want you to be more mindful of that. That's not insecurity if you say I'll break it on. I'll break it on like this. To me, it's an insecurity of if you met her and she had guy friends before, and then you meet her and you can't kick those guys anymore. To me, that's mad. Those guys are already there,
right?
But
she creates a new friend.
It's for me. It's how did that happen? Right. Where it's kind of I don't need you to be name dropping me all the time, but it's also kind of all right, does your man friend know after a certain time, unless he's super, super tight, why is he texting you at 11 o'clock at night?
No,
you know what I'm saying? So I think for me as dudes, we have to be able to talk about that. And it's just with women in general, it's kind of it's not an insecurity unless you and your partner are not working on it together, and it's not a reasonable I'll say reasonable negotiation where it's kind of if you're totally telling a woman that she can't do something, or you're telling a man he totally can't do that, then that's not fair.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. It's just those just like I said, having like those uncomfortable conversations, regardless of what you think the outcome would be. And like you said, the whole Usher thing, like, you know, she's like, I got Usher at home. Or she's like, no, I got Kyle at home, you know, and I'm not going to risk this 10-second Usher interaction.
Let's go.
For this 10 plus years I have with this man, you know, so that makes complete sense, you know. You know, we can do the electric slide together, Usher, you know, but you ain't about to jeopardize my relationship. I'm trying to go home. I'm trying to have a good night when I get home. I ain't trying to sit here and argue over a cherry.
Michelle ain't problem. Chris Brown ain't doing that to Michelle problem.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a bando.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a bando.
No, and Chris Brown, I'm only concerned, and this is completely off subject. I'm just concerned because he kissing a lot of girls, and for me, that's just. For me, I'm like, I'm cool, you know. You fine, but I'm cool.
And if I'm gonna be honest with you, and that's what prevented me to never smoke, because everyone was in a smoke circle, and I was the last person. I was like, I just kissed all 13 of these guys. No, don't pass me the blunt. If I do smoke, I have to be the first person.
That should be wet as hell by the time I'm like, I'm sticking in, can't even get all, gotta, nah, we're good.
But that is just me.
100%.
So no, I appreciate what we were talking about. I definitely think there needs to be, you know, this part 2.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you. I feel like there's a lot.
Y'all want me to cry on the next one? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And I just think that, you know, there's a lot of things that we can talk about. I think next one we can kind of get more like behaviors that we see and adding in social media, and then really talking about the right ways to move on.
Yes.
Like I think we'd like touched at it, but like, you know, even if you got cheated on, there's a right way to leave.
Oh, for sure.
And if you know that you can't get back with that person, or not in the cheating, but if you know like you've lost love for that person, there's a right way to leave. And I think, knowing how to leave.
No, that's a great one. I always like to lead with no love lost. I just have no more love to give. Or like, I think it's literally on my Instagram on like one of my posts is, all the love I gave is yours to keep. Because I'm not sitting here, I like to live in regrets. Like I regret I did all these things. I regret the investment of time, energy, financially, whatever. Like because you can't heal with regret. You know what I mean? I wish I didn't. No, I think whatever I've done for any person, relationship or not, they deserve to have happen to them. They deserved that from me for whatever reason. And I think what the time that we spent together may have been drawn out longer than it needed to be. And so it ended the way it did to no longer have time together. And, you know, and unfortunately endings can suck. And I wish most of my endings were different. But I take it for what it is. And, you know, if it gave me a way out and I'm still happy and healthy, I'll take it.
Oh, I think we got a topic to put on the whiteboard, but once again, I appreciate your time, energy, and effort, and this was a good one.
Yeah. I hope people know I joke a lot. You know, I come from a funny place. The hurt people do. But genuinely just so full. I'm so full of like love, but also experience. And there's things that I like and hate, obviously. But I think everyone is deserving of a healthy relationship, you know, if that's what they're seeking.
Likewise. If you like what we're doing, like, comment, subscribe. And I hope when this one comes out, we've reached 500 subscribers because, you know, we're doing dope shit.
And please let us know what you would like us to touch on.
Ooh.
I want to hear from y'all.
All right.
What y'all want to hear.
I like that.
Challenge me as well. But be careful because I don't know. I have nothing to say after that. I fold pretty easily. Okay. So.
All right. We'll be back.